Did you know that the Formula One track built at a cost of 85 billion rupees is completely useless today due to just a small flaw? And why was the airport constructed for 95 billion rupees sold for a mere 9 lakhs? Welcome once again, dear viewers. Today you'll learn about some of the world's mega projects that cost billions of dollars to build, but now no one even wants to use them. So let's begin with number 5. The Valencia Street Circuit. This is the track used in Formula One street racing, which became world famous as the Valencia Street Circuit, costing 100 million euros or 85 billion rupees. This track was built in just 1 year in the city of Valencia, Spain. At first glance, this racing track was very attractive to everyone because not only did it pass through the city's port, but a 140-meter section was also built on a beautiful swing bridge. Impressed by the advanced features of this track, Formula One announced plans to hold the European Grand Prix here for 7 years, from 2008 to 2014. Everyone was eagerly anticipating the event, wondering when Formula One racing would finally take place on this new track. However, when the first race was held here in 2008, the reality became clear. Racing drivers complained that the track's design made overtaking nearly impossible. The circuit featured 11 left turns and 14 right turns, but the straightaways before the turns were so long that racing cars could reach speeds of up to 320 km per h. This meant that at the turns, where overtaking opportunities typically arise, drivers had to brake extremely hard. As a result, numerous accidents were reported on this track. Formula One, which had booked the Valencia Street Circuit for 7 years, broke their agreement after just 5 years. Since then, this street circuit track looks like the set of a haunted film. Broken light poles, dilapidated fences, and wild vegetation growing along the sides of the racing track, as well as years-old water accumulated in the underpass, are proof that this mega project has been completely abandoned. Number 4. Ciudad Real Central Airport. Spain is a part of Europe that's considered a hotspot for tourists. Every year, 80 million tourists from all over the world come to visit, and they all prefer to land in Spain's capital, Madrid. However, an issue arose because Madrid International Airport in the capital city only has a capacity of 70 million passengers, while the number of incoming passengers is 80 million. Due to this problem, it was decided to build another airport. At a cost of $1.2 billion, Ciudad Real Central Airport was constructed. This new airport was hastily built with the main purpose of reducing the load on Madrid International Airport. However, when it became operational in 2009, the builders were in for a shock. Yes, it was called the Central Airport, but it was far from central in any sense. After landing here, passengers had to travel 300 kilometers to reach Madrid. Tourists strongly rejected this new airport, and commercial airlines suspended their flight operations. Just 2 years after its launch, Ciudad Real Central Airport began to resemble a ghost town. While no passengers wanted to come here, millions of dollars were still being spent every year just to keep the airport operational. The situation became so dire that in 2013, a decision was made to sell it. But who would want to buy such an airport? Finally, in 2019, this airport, which cost 95 billion rupees to build, was auctioned off for a mere $1,200. The number 3 Interstate H3 highway is a city in the US state of Hawaii known as Honolulu. There is a 26 kilometers long highway that passes through the middle of the beautiful mountains. There is so much attraction in these views that people passing through here park cars and do photography, due to which there is a traffic jam at many spots on this highway. This highway, which is known as Interstate H3 Hawaii, it is beautiful as well as very controversial. The need to build this highway was introduced in 1960 when it was very difficult to travel between the 2 bases of the US Navy present here. But when the plan to build this highway was announced here, the people living here made a lot of noise because he did not want the beauty of his city to be spoiled for any reason. and that too only to connect the two bases of the Navy to each other. This matter increased so much that the construction work of this highway was stopped for the next 26 years. But then in 1989, the construction of this project was forcibly started by changing the law of the environment. After 8 years of construction, this highway was opened for the first time in 1997. Normally, roads are made by cutting mountains to make roads in such areas. But because doing so was spoiling the beauty here, that is why this entire highway was erected on the support of big pillars from starting to ending. Due to doing this, nothing else happened. But the cost of this project increased, where the cost of this project was $2,500 million, while this entire project $1.3 billion. This total amount is equal to about 100 billion rupees, that is only 1 kilometer of 370 crores. Even after a 37-year wait and an investment of 100 billion rupees, this highway is still not considered fit for use today. Some people believe there is no direct route from this highway to downtown Honolulu, while locals haven't used it because they think the government demolished many of their places of worship during its construction. That's why this highway is rarely used. Number 2 ghost city is Yangon, the former capital of Myanmar. This coastal city has 7 million residents, and it's believed that Yangon can't expand anymore. Seeing this, in 2002, a Myanmar military leader quietly started building a new city. His plan was to shift Myanmar's capital. Myanmar wasn't the first country to change its capital. Earlier, Thailand, Afghanistan and Pakistan had also moved theirs. Finally, in 2005, the military leader suddenly announced that he wanted to shift the capital, which was named Naypyidaw. This new capital was built away from the sea in central Myanmar, costing a total of $4 billion or about 300 billion rupees. To attract people to Naypyidaw, everything you'd find in a modern city was built. 20-lane highways, luxury hotels, golf courses, museums, shopping malls, and even a replica of the famous pagoda from the old capital. But one crucial thing was missing here, and that was the population. Yes, this new capital had everything, but there were no people. Only government employees and bureaucrats live here. Apart from this, there's hardly anyone around. The 20-lane highway, which was built for millions of vehicles, is lucky to see a car running on it. The international airport here, which could handle 3.5 million people, only has about 10 or 12 passengers even during peak times. Similarly, hotels and shopping complexes are so deserted that it's scary to even go there. This entire city, built with 300 billion rupees, now looks like a ghost town. Now, let's talk about the number 1 Yucca Mountain West repository. If nuclear power plant waste material isn't stored properly, it can cause unimaginable harm to humans. Normally, all of America's nuclear waste is packed in drums and left in remote locations. But in 2002, the US planned to dig a 300-meter deep tunnel in Yucca Mountain, Nevada to dump all of America's nuclear waste there. This plan seemed great on paper, but the people living in Nevada strongly opposed the idea. They argued that since Nevada doesn't have any nuclear plants, why should the entire country's nuclear waste be dumped here? The debate over whether nuclear waste should be stored in Yucca Mountain dragged on in court for years. Eventually, during President Obama's administration, it was decided that nuclear waste would not be stored in Yucca Mountain. Surprisingly, this project, which cost a staggering $17 billion or 1,300 billion rupees, is now in such a position that no one wants anything to do with it. We hope you'll like and share. Thank you so much for your loving comments, and we'll see you in the next exciting video.